Put the old headphones on and get this whole thing started. Here we are. The book is finished. I got an epilogue to fashion, which is not going to be released until the proper time. Last night, I released, 4 o'clock this morning, 6 hours ago, I released pages 135 through 139. Next Monday, it'll be 140 through 144, and that's it. It's done. So now I am planning that November 12th is my target date for a Kickstarter campaign. We're going to release these comics in issues. Volume 1 is the first book. Volume 2 is the second book. Volume 3 is the third book of this trilogy, and then we'll go on to, Volume 4. There's going to be 9 major books and then about 45 different issues. So it'll span different volumes, and I'll do it my own way. I've never been able to figure out how people figure out what volumes are in comics, but I'll do it my own way. Anyway, so we're going to start out just 32-page issues. Is probably what I'm looking at, about 32 pages. I'm going to add about 5 pages to the book for the first comic, which will be a surprise to everybody. I'm going to put in some magnificent Civil War battle scenes, things like that, and I think it'll be cool. I've been studying a lot about the Civil War. I do a lot of historical research for this series of novels. I know a whole lot about what was going on in the United States and in the world during this time. And I'm not talking about, major political turmoils that was going on and everything like that. I'm talking about a very specific thing. And then the world impinges upon, history impinges upon this little group of people, which is what life's like. You're leading your life, and then the world comes in and says, "Ba-dee-ba-boo." And of course, that's the way life is. Life isn't a deal where you get to just go la-di-da and not worry about anything. This is what I was doing on. As you can see, get rid of all this. This is the base drawing. And so I've been working on that a little while. I just started out with just a little gesture drawing that I posted to a little group I'm a part of. It's like a private group where you just post things that you're working on. And so then I just worked on it on paper and pencil, because I don't use ink, so I just use pencil. And then I loaded it into Facebook, and I worked on it digitally also. I think I'll play around with that edge right there just to make that line a little cleaner. Let me get up close to that. And so I'm really at the point where I'm gonna be so let's play around with that a little bit. Okay, you want the line to waver a little bit, a little thicken that and stuff like that, but you don't want it to get too goofy. Okay, so here's the tone, which is going to tell me where the light is shining from outside. And then the color I've been putting in here. I like to put in neutral colors that I've constructed in the here. Oh, stop it. Do. Yeah, here. I construct them here. Try to get all of the black out of it. I think that was a color that I did for the boots. And as you get all the black out of it, you're not going to get muddy colors. Even if you're working in neutral colors, they're not going to get muddy. You also are seeking to not have huge, like if you had 100%, then you add all these up, then if you had a lot of black in it, you're going to get muddy colors. And you also take a chance that you're going to have too much ink on the page. Now, here is how you keep from doing that. So I remember it. Where's my... it's here in color settings, I believe. Yeah. When you're doing this, custom CMYK. You want the total ink limit to be about 280%. If you do that, make it medium. You're not gonna get so much ink on the page that the pages stick to each other, which is would drive anybody nuts. Okay, so that's how you prevent that, and then you go over each page before you send it off to the printer and make sure it's perfect. You don't send them out there just hoping and wishing and everything like that. That's what used to be done back in the 70s when I was doing comics. You would just pray everything. Okay, but here you can actually do this yourself and make sure that all your ducks in a row. I remember when Ari Romero and I were we sent the covers of Realm 5 to the printer. We were praying that everything would be all right, and we one day we went up to the printers and we just looked in the window just to see if we could see the stuff. And I think the cover was hanging on the wall. I guess they liked it. It looked great, superb stuff. So, but that's not the way you really want to do it, because when you get into this, is really much better printing than you would get in comic books back in the 70s. 70s, when you got newsprint, they don't give you proofs. You don't get any galley proofs. You don't get nothing. And then if they screw things up, hey, that's the way it is. We got these huge print runs and thousands of things to do all the time, and they don't pay any attention to you. So you get really, really upset, and there's not a dang thing you can do about it. So I try to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I'm going to play around with the straw. Where are you, boy? Oh. Myself a little bit bigger brush. Play around with the straw, which I'm going to probably have to do in a couple of layers. Give myself sort of like today is no matter what you do, we're in multiply, aren't we? Okay. Digital world is a bit weird. And let me see if I can increase. Good. Well, I'll do it later. I was up till close to 1 in the morning reading rough drafts of art criticism. It's one of the things I teach is art criticism as a way to learn how to construct a scholarly paper, which I suspect, after having many years of teaching, that most people aren't being taught how to write in high school, at least not taught how to document. So that's one of the things I do in my college classes is I make sure that they leave my classroom with the skills that are necessary for writing decent academic papers, which I suppose they're probably being taught this in if they're taking writing classes or any type of an English class at the college, but you should, since in the academic world, unless you're in a studio class, studio art class, there's got to be some writing going on. And so, since I teach a lower level art history class, they have to write. And so I'm doing them by busting their chops and getting them to do this correctly. I'm doing them a big favor because they have to learn this stuff. You cannot get through college without knowing how to write an academic paper. It's just impossible. And so that's what I was doing last night till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I got a lot done yesterday. I'm caught up. There's probably a few people who turned things in after midnight, but after midnight I didn't look at anything. I just did what I had. I told you get into me by Sunday night, not Monday morning. So I'll play around with this and see whether or not this is the actual color I want. It's maybe a little too not yellow because straw is yellowish. It's kind of a little golden yellow. But I can play around with that. And these little overlaps can be smudged and they'll work out. So I'll show you what I do to even things up. Just do things like this. And doesn't make those little areas so jarring. It's still kind of there, but that kind of little happy accent can be used later on. Not such a horrible thing, just as long as the edges aren't hard. So back to it and play around with that. One of my rewards, one of my reward levels from Kickstarter is going to be offering up these are digital watercolors, which makes sense because I'm reducing one of the steps that I would be taking if I was doing an actual watercolor. An actual watercolor, I'd have to do all types of stuff, and then I'd have to scan it, then I'd have to correct it. Then be just, you couldn't do it for the whole book, but you can do it here. But as one of my rewards, I'd do an actual watercolor on 300-pound class Fabriano Classico watercolor paper, which is just some gorgeous stuff that I bought when I was working at Utrecht back in the 80s. And I bought these things for like 100 sheets of them for like $1 each. They just wanted to get rid of them. I says, I'll take them. It cost me $100, but they were worth a lot of money because they don't make this stuff anymore. I have not been able to find this particular kind of watercolor paper. The surface of it is so beautiful. It's unbelievably beautiful because it looks like linen. It looks like you're painting watercolor on linen canvas. It's just gorgeous. I haven't found it ever again. I still got about 30 sheets of it left. So someday I'll run out of it and I'll maybe have to go somewhere and find some antique versions of this, because I bought this stuff like 32 years ago. I've had them all this time. I used it for my entry into Watercolor USA back in 2012 or something like that. Got in. And so that was fun, but not. That's all I wanted to do all the time. My frame came back. It didn't sell. Nothing really sells anymore. And the frame came back damaged, so I wasn't terribly happy about that. I spent all that money to send it off, and then it gets damaged. So I'm not crazy about sending my work off to shows and stuff like that. But I would do it on the paper that I scan to create texture on. This is that actual watercolor paper that you can't really tell the texture from it, not from a scan. It's just really heavy. You don't have to stretch it or anything. If it warps a tiny bit, all you have to do is lightly spray some water on the backside, place it between two sheets of paper, put a weight on it, leave it there for a day, perfectly flat. One of the most wonderful things about doing all these horse drawings in this comic is that many times the gone out to Gulfstream Park and Calder Racetrack here in Florida and taken photographs, hundreds of photographs of racehorses. And so I spent a lot of time just studying those photographs and doing drawings of horses so that I have a pretty good idea how to draw a horse without looking at a source. It's not that difficult. You just have to understand a little bit of their anatomy. And also, many years ago, I found this on Art Store, which is an art image database. The entire run of George Stubbs' Anatomy of Horses, the entire thing in high definition. So I downloaded them all since I had a membership in that database. And I printed them up, and they are beautiful. And I studied that a lot too, so that has helped me a lot in this comic. And my big reward things is stuff that I add to the would add about 5 pages to the book for the first comic, which may be something I do. Add a few pages to the comic for the print edition, and do a lot of rewriting because I can do more dialogue and more narration in a comic because I don't have the problem of having to make the type 34 point, which is necessary if you're going to be able to read it on a phone. And everybody's reading comics on their phone these days, and not too many people hanging on their desktop all day long. Oopsie doopsie. So I just I know I'm going to add about 5 pages to this book to make the eventual number of pages in the story 28 pages, and then there'll be probably 4 variant covers that I'll add to it. It'll be on 80-pound paper for the interior in color with probably matte lamination. And then the cover will be 100-pound paper with gloss and lamination. It's going to be slick and cow spit on a doorknob. It's nice being the publisher. I've had publishers, and I'd rather be my own publisher. You have a whole lot less problems just by doing it all yourself. Yeah, I gotta do all this. And I'll do that smudging thing again. See that? That's not a Smurf in the background, that's my dog playing with one of his toys. He's a sweet little dog. He's not satisfied when I get up in the morning until I have rubbed his belly to his satisfaction, rolls over on his back and just lays there. and with a look at you and saying, now you get on with the routine. You know what's supposed to be done. So I have to do that. And when I walk him, every time he sees a person, that's what he wants him to do, rub his belly. I have to guide him along the street and say, no, nobody's rubbing your belly today. He absolutely loves human beings. Bud is also a pretty good watchdog because you come onto the property while he's inside the house, he starts raising all types of cane. Boo, 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 boo. Finished putting this in. Let's see who's playing around. Well, what do I have to do after this? Boy, this may not take that long. Let's see. Who's probably my Twitch follower? I got a secret Twitch follower. Yeah, it's on Twitch. But then the guy tells you, he gets lots of followers and stuff like that. I don't know about that guy. There's a lot of spam in your comment section, which I don't think anybody appreciates. Already got over 1,100 followers on my Facebook page. YouTube is useless. I used to get a decent amount of visitors on YouTube, but YouTube's not so hot anymore. Okay, get this in here. There's lots of little nuances that have to be done to bring this to the point where it's worth looking at. I like the black and white version of this so much, I might offer it as a separate item in the Kickstarter campaign. And I'll probably offer the original also. That's a cool thing to do, to offer originals to supporters. I'm not going to offer, a whole lot of originals of the interior. I like to save those for my niece and nephew's inheritance. But things like that, things like this are cool things to offer. And then I'm going to do some original art commissions. I do think it might be a cool thing if you're a major supporter, to give you a cameo role. I've got several places in the book where a supporter could actually have a cartoon caricature version of themselves in the book. I might do that. Doodle-doo-doo. was just doing the I was just doing the paint bucket at one time, but today I think if I did it, it would deepen the value of this in a way that I don't want. I'm just going to have to do it this way and be satisfied. Ah, my hands feeling getting a little cramp in my hand. Getting a little cramp in my hand. I mutter a bit, don't I? Okay. I'll just smudge all this. Like I'll just smudge all that. Okay. Smudging time. It is watercolor anyway. Ugh. See what that looks like. Okay, yeah. Now here, I need a little bit of this, which I can change in a few minutes. Ah ha ha ha. Okay. What do I have here? Okay. What do I think my comments are going to be? See, I knew somebody was want to become famous, buy followers, primes, and views on bigfollows.com. No, thank you. You don't buy them. They're not real if you buy them. If you buy them, then they're not, you can't buy likes and follows. People either like you or they don't. It's best to be done organically. You can lead people to your page, and then if they like you, fine. But you can't buy likes and follows. Just like with there are a lot of really hot artists on Facebook, but I'll go friending a bunch of them, and it's slice idea who I am. What's the point? But when they come after me and want to be friends on Facebook, that's a completely different matter. That's actually pretty cool. So I believe in just kind of laying back and waiting for things to flow. They will or they won't. If they don't, well, what the heck are you supposed to do about that? I do. I do have to admit that I show up for Jim Steranko's Sunday night Twitter fest. Oh, wow, could you not show up for Jim Steranko's Twitter fest? Jim Steranko. And he changed. He's sort of like he did things for comics that Eisner had would have done. Okay, I don't like black in there. You want to leave cyan out of this. Make it about 12. Magenta, maybe get it down to about 18. Let's see what happens when I do that. I can always go backwards. I think I prefer that color because I can layer colors over that and play around with its tonality. It's much easier to go up. You can't go, you can't reduce the value of a color by adding. You're just gonna probably make it darker. So let me look at that. Yeah, but there's all types of things you can do to this. Okay. So now back here, you'd want to add more magenta. Let's say bring this up to 30. Cyan up to about 20. Yellow up to about 50. Magenta 35. Okay. Then I'm gonna bring, yeah, so I can actually see the edges. And there's not a huge difference between these two colors. A little more magenta in it than the other one. And place it over here too. Boo, boo, boo. Okay. I may add a bunch of layers to this just so I can play around with different values, because I'm going to have this part of this is going to be in shadow because we're in a stable and it's not out in the sun, though there's some sunlight coming through, which I've sort of like mapped out in the tonal layer. So my old buddy Rick Berry, who I've known since we were 20 years old. It's been 40, almost 48 years. He always would underscore my resoluteness when doing a project. Like, I would get up in the morning and I would start drawing. And I would draw till when we were in Colorado Springs in '73. I would draw 3 days straight. I would stop to eat a little bit of food and everything like that. I'd eat and stuff like that. But I would stay up 3 days straight. And I'd sleep for 12 hours and go at it again. As it is, my story was only like a 22-page story, but I didn't have all these tools at my disposal. I was drawing directly onto a crescent illustration board, and then after I had drawn it, I would ink it with a rapidograph, and I was stippling hundreds of thousands of little dots instead of using Zipatone, which was the thing back then. I was using. I was just everybody got into stippling. I don't know why, but we did. We just loved stippling. So we would stipple, 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 and it was just nuts. And let me see. If we're looking at green, then you want to have more magenta in it, much more than that. Yep. Okay. And I want to have about, that much. Let's see how that works out on the boys thing. Yeah. Amongst all that warm colors, you put in a cool color, even though it's been knocked down. When you're seeking to create a muted green, you just make sure you add its complementary to it, which in this case would be magenta, and you'll knock it down to where it's a really, really, really handsome green that doesn't, stick out like a sore thumb, but actually blends in. It becomes, in a way, an analogous color with all the rest, except because it's a cool color at least, it holds plane and becomes part of that kid's part of his figure, and it works out great. Now this boy likes to wear the same color, sort of the same color, top and the bottom. Okay, so 75, 55, cyan, 65. Okay. Okay. Do. So what kind of hats this boy gonna be wearing? So maybe it should be up to 85. 75. And then no, not that much. Yeah. Yep. This little image here is going to be printed up as an 11 by 17-inch art print on 100-pound paper with a gloss finish. Okay. Okay, and then the same color shoes as almost the same color shoes as Blue Boy. Put a little more cyan into it. Yep. Okay, so this over here should be just a grayish color, but I don't want any black. So let's that. Hoop-a-doop. Okay, then this should be. I don't like that. A lot more cyan, a lot more magenta, a lot more yellow. And then I'm gonna just do with this right here with no explanation about what it is. Doesn't matter. Now, over on the left, we have all this stuff over here, which should be sort of like that, except I want to change its try that. Okay, well, I'm going to do this. Do this. And go over it again and deepen its value. Okay. All this is sort of like I was doing flats, except I don't do flats because this is a watercolor thing, and I kind of like to keep it kind of open so it doesn't look like, hey, look, I'm just winging it when it comes to this. I understand color theory, so it helps me out a lot. And I understand that when you're doing art, you pay real heavy attention to the edges of things. You don't just leave everything flatly, boom. You play around the edges. The edges make things turn. Things are just look like they were cut out with a pair of scissors. They become flat. That's why you look at Matisse's cutouts, and this is actually his intention, is that they are all incredibly flat. Nothing wrong with that, except I don't want my things to look flat because I'm not a phobe, guys. I might have been referred to as a wild beast when I was younger, but it wasn't because of the art. Okay, so, oh, and I'll do this over here too. Okay. Now, little old girl here needs to have some darker hooves. So the way you do that is to do it about 85, 85, 85, and then choose one of them to reduce 75. Nope. No. 70. Uh, boo, 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 boo. Okay. Huh. Hey, how about this? 90, 90, 90, which is 270, which you don't want to really want that like that. So, because when you, yep. All right, let's go back down to 55, 55, 55, and add about 25. Yep. This, yep. You do this on the hooves because they're not a major factor here. Okay, and then you're going to want to give her some color to her tail. Make it look like an ink drawing. Okay, now look at it. Now, so as you can see, my focal area is Blue Boy's back. Lightest values, highest contrast is right there. So that's how we're doing it. Now I need to add in shadows. And the shadows are going to be no black in them. About 50, 55, 50. Yep. And then I will add progressively uh, deeper values as we get into the foreground. Let's play around the background. Let's play around the background, foreground now. This on multiply, good. Leave her muzzle out of that shadow. Great thing about having the shadow on a separate layer is I can modify it as much as I want to. I can lighten it if I want to. I can change its color, whole 9 yards. And I'm going to play around with this, make sure there's not a lot of visual noise that is caused by these shadows, which means they're going to have to be make them probably subtler, which can be done. Hmm. Do 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 do. This is where it starts to get a lot of fun. Really becomes just like so much coolness because once the whole all this rigmarole we've been going through starts to take on a life of its own and really maybe work, then you just go, hey, I didn't realize this might be actually halfway decent. Okay. Yeah, I gotta cause these shapes to conform more to the idea of gaps in the barn where the light is coming through. So I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit. I'm not sure. Let me see. Should I bring that up? Yeah, I probably should. Yep. Great thing about this is if you, okay, you decide that you want to make that edge hard again, you just simply take your eraser and you make it hard again. Okay. I wish my cousin Roger was on watching this right now. He has some gorgeous horses. He's a rancher out in Texas. And man, he's got some nice horses. We're about the same age. And he rides those suckers. They're just, you know, but I'll alert him to this. And in fact, there's horses in here. He's going to have to get in on it. Gonna have to get in on this, Roger. It's right up your alley. Yeah, I gotta. This gal has to be in shadow because he has to be cast in one. Okay, let me soften that up a bit. Blend those two areas in. And race that little thing going on his nose because I want his nose to stick out there. Okay. Oops. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Okay. What this does is by making these edges soft, it causes this to pop up and behave itself. Okay, now let's experiment with this a bit. Add another shadow here. We get also a multiply and see whether or not I want darker shadows appear on Blue Boy. Okay. That may have worked out all right. We can have different layers of shadows and I can smudge that so it just kind of blends in onto all this. I'll bring that down here and blend that a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, what's going on? Boo, 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 boo. Yeah, my brother-in-law just sent me a friend request. It's good. I had good brother-in-laws. All my brother-in-laws are excellent. So, what's going on here? What's it look like? Okay. Only 86 people reached. Yeah. Tell you, Facebook is so messed up these days. What can I do about it? Nothing. Just keep on plugging away. The old saying, the greatest revenge is to live well. So I'll get by without Facebook. Facebook's punishing me for not taking out ads on my pages. I tried that, didn't work. Worthless. Okay, Shadow 2. How about we bring this out over da-da-da-da-da. A little bit of this. I sound like Bob Ross. But that's the way it is, guys. Okay. Okay. Let's do a little bit of smudging here so it doesn't get too wacky. I need to. Was that in shadow? Yes, it was. Okay. And back to doing that. Okay, probably need to soften these up. Those edges need to be softened up a tiny bit. Show this to my wife when she comes in. She has excellent taste. She always tells me what I should and shouldn't be doing. She's almost always right. Okay. Look at it, print size. Okay, print size. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, now to play around this area down here, because it's a little grayish, maybe a little muddy, I don't know. Blend these areas together, see what I can get them to do. In fact, I think these things automatically save. They do. But I'm going to save it anyway, just to make sure that I've got it in good shape, and I've saved it on the Creative Cloud, so I don't have to worry about it at all. Okay, and then I'm going to go. What am I doing? Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of blend these areas together. Not sure I am. What I might want to do is blend the color areas together. Okay. I don't get the rolling beach ball too often. Oh, we're saving. Oh, wow. Must be one of those automatic saves. Okay. Okay, try it over here. Yeah. It's working a little bit better. Just trying to get this gray area right here out, which what I may have to do is to do some cloning. Go over here to color. Stop it with the beach ball, guys. Got plenty of scratch disk. Plenty of memory. Okay, now use this. Increase the size of the brush. And then sample that. Well, that's not what I want to do. How about I do it over here? Uh, huh. Well, what's causing that? Let me just get rid of, okay. Ah, that's what's causing it. Okay. We'll do the same thing with the tonal area. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Okay. Well, what I could do, get rid of everything up here, even the color, and smudge the tonal area, or just draw it in. Then smudge it. Now, what's it look like? Yeah, look, I like it better now. And right here, I'm going to just play around with this a bit. Use the burn tool to darken her muzzle a little bit. Yeah, what I could do is just color area and bring it up here so I can see it better. Maybe just the tiniest bit of a highlight here. Yep, just the tiniest bit. Okay. Those little subtleties are important. And I was looking at this. I'm not so sure I'm crazy about how emphatic that line here is. Yep. Appear in the color. No, that wasn't what I want to do. In the shadow. Must be over here. Huh. Nope. Yeah, right there. That's what I wanted to do. What do we got here? Let me see if I can smudge this up a bit. And down here, and I would probably be in the shadow area. Yeah, fill this kid's mouth. Yep. Ah, shadow, shadow, shadow. Okay. Well, we certainly don't want that. But not a bad idea. Let me see what happens when I do that. No, actually, that worked. Redo paint bucket. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. Sometimes you do the right thing by accident. Oh, do 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 do. Somebody in the equine art group said this reminded her of John Steinbeck's The Red Pony. Could be. that. Yep, I didn't like that. Okay. Make sure this has no blacking. I don't want any black on that. Sure still doesn't have any black in it? Yeah. You know, it's something that doesn't have to make rational sense, make visual sense. Too much activity over there. Yep. Maybe I can do this. All that other activity is just too much. I don't even like that. Oh, leave it alone. Okay. I'm going to take this out. Boy, anybody want to give me some feedback? Other than the guy who wants me to become famous? Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. So I've been working on this hour and 41 minutes. Not too bad. Just kind of looking at it on the StreamYard stream. I'm going to get rid of my image there just so I can look at it alone. A few little things here, probably. Okay. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call that properly done. Okay. And I don't want to add any line work to it. It's got enough. So I will return on Wednesday. So I'm reducing this to um, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a while. I got to get ready for this Kickstarter campaign, which means I got to spend some time, setting up the Kickstarter pages and everything like that. So that's going to take some more time. And so if you want to support this endeavor, go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/David Greg Taylor, and you'll find me there. And as little as $3 a month, you can support me. $3, $9, $20. So, and the $20 when you get an original drawing every month. And hey, who knows what happens in the future. So I will see you guys on Wednesday. And so, sayonara.